Well, hello. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the one and only Anaheim Ducks postgame show here on the Halos in the Infield network, joined by yours truly, Dominic Lorenz of Catella Chronicles. And it was a very festive Saturday night at Honda Center as the Ducks get a massive win 4-3 against the Columbus Blue Jackets, which less than 24 hours ago, it was a very ugly Friday night at Honda Center when the Ducks lost to the Dallas Stars 8-3. So a terrific bounce back performance from Anaheim tonight. And it kind of takes the stain off of what happened yesterday. It's one of those situations where Anaheim needed to show grit, needed to show that fire back in them after a totally charismatic, nasty performance. Tonight was much better overall. Not the best game overall from the Ducks this year, but they do enough to not only win, get back in the win column, B, stay in first place in the Pacific Division, and C, get some contributions from unlikely sources, just like the game winner in Pavel Mintyukov. We'll get into all things Anaheim Ducks tonight as the comments are rolling on down here tonight. Patrick Carrillo saying Todd's balls in my mouth. Absolutely. The Ducks doing a great job in that regard. Royally Quacked, our great friends, joining in. What's up, guys? Happy Saturday to you. Let's ducking go. The Ducks getting the job done tonight by the final of 4-3 as they set the table for one final game on Monday before the 4-day Christmas holiday vacation. And the Ducks get into a situation now between now and just before New Year's Eve. You got the Kraken, the Kings, some Canadian teams coming on in, where the Ducks have some Pacific Division issues. Not issues. Let me rephrase that. Head-to-head matchups where you don't want them to become an issue. Let me be more specific in that regard. You do not want these situations to become more of an issue. You want to take advantage of these opportunities. Win, win, win. And I said it a couple weeks ago, and I've kept on saying it up until now. The Ducks, I would love to see them get to at least the 50-point mark by the time we get to January 1. If they're able to do that, I think that is massive, massive, massive at the end of the day. It sets the tone for the postseason. It really sets a tone not only for where the trajectory of this team is going with Joel Quenneville in charge, but I think it really shows how ahead of the curve the Ducks are in any retrospect of where we thought they'd be in the regular season here on December the 20th. So a great start, great bounce back win for Anaheim. So let's get on into it. Who scored? Who didn't? Again, and I'll say this from the top, it was not the best overall performance, not nearly the 60-minute hockey game that the Ducks were wanting or what we wanted as fans. However, you're going to win some good games, you're going to win some bad games, and you're going to win some ugly games, and you're going to win some games that are just plain old neutral. Both teams played even, and you're just going to scrap ahead and get what you get. Some nights you're going to get no points. Some nights you're going to get the pity points. Some nights you're going to get the 2 points. And tonight was the night that the Ducks get the 2 points in a 4-3 win in regulation against the Columbus Blue Jackets, where just a couple of days ago, they picked up that coveted pity point in an overtime loss. So let's get into it, figure out who gets the goals tonight, who gets on the stat sheet, and overall, how did the Ducks make a win out of it tonight? You know how it goes. Every time I announce a goal, we're going to hit that Ducks goal horn. We're going to celebrate here tonight on the one and only Ducks postgame show. Halos in the Infield is the place to be. The Ducks outshoot the Columbus Blue Jackets 28-26 tonight. 10 shots in the first, 11 shots in the second, and even with 7 shots in the third period. So again, evenly marked night for the Ducks. They had 2 in the first, 1 in the second, and 1 in the third. And that 1 goal in the third is the difference maker tonight. The Ducks get on the board first and second tonight. You had the former Dallas Star who scored last night, Mikhail Granlund. He gets on the board first with his 6th of the year from Owen Zellweger and Frankie Vetrano. Absolutely a great way for the Ducks as the horn sounded in here, as the Ducks get the job done to get onto the scoreboard, not only first, but early on in the first and pretty much set the tone in the right direction, bounce back from last night's poor effort against Dallas and have that 1-0 advantage. Olin Zellweger checks back into the lineup, and I think that you just see the complete difference on defense when Zellweger's in versus maybe a guy like Drew Hellison. We'll get into that in just a little bit. Speaking of defense, Jacob Trouba. What a golden young fella. Best defenseman, in my opinion, for the Ducks this season. He gets on the board Ryan Failing, his 11th assist, Alex Killorn with his 9th assist. And this was a goal, in my opinion, that kind of highlights some intriguing members of this Ducks team. You have Jacob Trouba, veteran, came over last year in the trade with the Rangers. 6 goals to me, as I just mentioned, one of the better defensive players for the Ducks this season. Then you have Ryan Failing, who, yes, has been hurt, but when he's been on the ice, the Ducks have looked different, and he has saucered a couple nice passes overall this season. I like his setup ability. He gets his 11th assist. And old man Alex Killorn got that big contract with the Ducks, hasn't played to that Stanley Cup worthy type player, but he's one of the savvy veterans that are leading this team, and this was a trio combination of savvy veterans getting the job done. Trouba from Failing and Killorn, 2-0 Ducks. Columbus gets a late goal in this second period, or first period, to make it 2-1, which carries over into the second period. Funny enough, the brand new Columbus Blue Jacket, who just about 48 hours ago was traded on over from the Seattle Kraken in Marchment. He gets his 5th of the year. 2-2 is our score. But the guy that I have touted as a guy that will need to step up after we flip the calendar to January 1, and especially after the Olympic break, it's Mason McTavish. He nets his 8th goal of the season. Ross Johnston, another unsung hero of this Duck squad this year, picks up his 8th assist, and the Ducks take that 3-2 lead. But McTavish, if he continues to chip away, I know he missed time during training camp. I know he had some contract negotiations issues with the front office. He got his deal. He's back. He's been a part of this team through the rebuild, and he has to step up with the likes of Carlson, Terry, Seneca, all of those young core members. And if McTavish is able to do that and become a leader on this team, I think I like where we're going, right? And I think he is going to be kind of that recipe / secret sauce of how we make it to the playoffs and potentially compete for a divisional title, because right now the Ducks first place in the Pacific Division after tonight's win. So we get to, sleep soundly once again here tonight. But Mason McTavish, to me, is the guy that could essentially hold that secret recipe sauce that really tips this Ducks team moving forward. And Royally Quacked, you make a perfect point as well with Ross Johnston. The boss Johnston, he has been in the trenches, being physical, and he has set up opportunities as a passer and as a scorer. So again, you have these intangible pieces that we didn't think would be as big as they would be at this point of the season. Again, I know we love Ducks fans, and we are all family here. Let's go Ducks. Ducks fly together. I don't know how many people, and it's probably very small, that thought the Ducks were going to be in first place at this point on December the 20th, 30-plus games into the season. I did not have us pegged this high. I think we're exceeding above expectations, and we're now steadying off in a good fashion. Again, you're going to get some ugly games. The road trip wasn't completely pretty, and last night was ugly against Dallas, and tonight was a fair assessment of this team. Not the best, not the worst, but we'll take it as a fair opportunity. So when you get opportunities like this, not everything is going to be cupcakes and rainbows like it was during that 7-game winning streak. That was great. I would love to see another 7-game winning streak, but you're going to get humbled, and you're going to have to play tough hockey. The Ducks have been put through a grueling schedule to begin this year. October, November, December, January is going to be no joke with a lot of those games on the road, and the Ducks have had their issues on the road this year. January is going to be a massive test for this franchise. But McTavish, to me, secret sauce. If he continues to improve, get up to speed, show that leadership quality, And even through January, in the tough times of January, when you're on the road a lot, hopefully McTavish is a guy, gets hot really quick and sends the Ducks into some winning ways. Then third period, Columbus ties it up 3-3, but late in the third, scramble puck, Radko Gudas, Mikhail Gramlin, getting it into the front of the net to a trailing Pavel Mintyukov. Mintyukov, we had some issues with him, not bad issues, but we didn't know where Pavel Mintyukov was going to fit into this equation when he was benched for 3 games for Ian Moore. Comes back, scores a goal, and he has been productive on the ice ever since returning. It lit a fire under him. Again, you trust Joel Quenneville with these types of situations, and he made it very clear before yesterday's game against Dallas. You have a lot of defensemen, and you're going to cycle them in. Some people are going to be happy on certain days, and some people are going to be upset. Last night, Zellweger had the short end of the stick. Tonight, Pavel Mintyukov becomes the hero. The Ducks defense, even though they've been wishy-washy at best this year, I am going to give them all the credit in the world. They are continuously being aggressive on offense. Another night where Zellweger, Trouba, Gudas, and Mintyukov, 4 defensemen, get at least 1 point on the stat sheet. Every defenseman had at least 1 shot on goal tonight, with Lacombe with 2 and Ian Moore with 2 as well. So defense is one thing. That'll be addressed. Offensively speaking, they are peppering the puck and they're setting up this offense. It's feast or famine sometimes, and it can be helter-skelter, but this defense knows how to get the job done when the time is necessary. Still needs to be improved. Got to tighten up the screws a little bit, but I think there's still plenty of time in this season for that to happen. Ducks get the win 4-3, and I'm not going to leave Mintyukov off. Columbus 28-26. Columbus, however, wins the face-off 57-42%, and the power play 1 for 2 while the Ducks go 0 for 3. Ducks out-hit Columbus, block shot 26-11 over Columbus. They had more giveaways 16-15, but they did intercept the puck with 5 takeaways over 4. So again, a very balanced game overall. Not the most shiny, bright one that you're going to say this was our best game and full 60-minute game of the season. However, this was a good litmus test for the Ducks to have a fair game, continue to compete, and that's what this game was about tonight. What a night. Our good buddy was there at the game. Cheers to you, my friend. Glad you were there. Glad you saw an Anaheim Ducks win on a Saturday night. Back end of a back-to-back. Dostal had to come up big tonight after a poor outing last night. So again, not the prettiest of games, but you still get the 4-3 win at the end of the day. So the scoring breakdown is done. Let's sit back as I'll look through the box score and figure out who is tonight's Anaheim Ducks 3 stars of the game, brought to you by me here on the one and only Anaheim Ducks Postgame Show on the Halos in the Infield Network. Yes, indeed. The 3 stars of the game brought to you by me here tonight. Dominic Catella Chronicles here on the Halos in the Infield Network. Great to be the only post-game show to get all of your Ducks fix as soon as the game ends. The post-game reaction, good, bad, indifferent, however it goes. This is the spot to be. Like, comment, and subscribe. And thank our sponsors as well at the top of your screen. 714 Tickets, Bruheim, the OC Dugout, and Max Market Pros. And another shout out tonight to who we call the producer of the stars, Randy Yaz. He's in the back. He's flicking on the comments right now. He's playing a little bit of things. He is the main man who puts everything in motion here. The logos, the backdrop, everything you see on the stream. It is his work. So cheers to you, Randy. Thanks for helping out here tonight and enjoying a little bit of the fun on the Ducks post-game show. 3 stars. This one's going to be fun. But I think we've narrowed it down rather easily tonight. There's a lot to like from this game. Again, I'll repeat, not the prettiest of games here so far this season for the Ducks. But it was a gritty, bring your hard hat, bring your lunch pail, and just squeeze out a win at the end of the day. Because if you're able to do those games, it toughens up the skin and gets you ready to go for what the deeper portion of this season is, especially January, February, March, and when we get to the playoffs. That would be great. The Ducks right now, first place in the Pacific Division. Tonight, it doesn't happen often, but I'm going to favor what the media said at Honda Center tonight, because typically if you're at a game, it's always 3 stars of the game brought to you by the broadcast media at the game tonight, yada, yada, yada. And tonight, looking at what they have on the NHL app, I'm going to have to agree with what is on there tonight. I don't normally do that. I like to play, contrarian a little bit with at least 1 or 2 picks. But overall, looking at the box score, the eye test in tonight's game, the 1 and 2 star for me are no questions asked. The 3rd star is what I was teetering around in my head. And now as I look at the box score again and thinking of what I do, I might change it again. So let's just, throw wet noodles on the wall and let's see what sticks. Number 3 star of the game. Because it's a win and coming off of a bad night last night, I know the defense has gotten shitted on so far throughout this year, and it's been feast or famine, as I've said. But I'm going to give some love to them tonight. So for our 3rd star of the game, we're going to have a tie. So it's 3 stars, but 4 players are getting nominated tonight because it's the giving season of Christmas. So I'm going to be Santa and be jolly. Number 3 star of the game, it is a tie, both with goals tonight in massive spots. I'm going to give the defense some love in Jacob Trouba, and I'm going to give the forward some love and hopefully light a fire under this guy in Mason McTavish. Both guys get a goal tonight. McTavish had a fantastic night, 17 minutes on the ice, 6 shots on goal. Trouba, 24 and a half minutes of defensive time. He is the 2nd leading defenseman on that ice behind Jackson Lacombe of 25 minutes. So Trouba and McTavish tied for your 3rd star of the game. Your number 2 star of the game. Who else? I think he did a great job of scoring that game-winning goal late in the 3rd period. Pavel Minchikov, his 4th of the year. He had 20 minutes on the ice as well. And talking about it over the last couple of weeks, ever since he was benched, he's come off of that 3-game hiatus in a much different fashion. And I've appreciated that from a young fella who maybe was a little in his feelings throughout those first couple of games and wondering, do they want to trade me? Is this the end of my Ducks career? But pump the brakes. You're going to be fine. Pavel Minchikov, bright future still ahead. And the number 1 star, when you have a multi-point affair, you're going to get in the running, and it's the new Duck on a 3-year deal, Mikhail Gramlin. 1 goal, 1 assist, 2.9, 4 shots on goal, goals in back-to-back affairs. He gets your number 1 star of the night. So it's a tie for 3rd. Trouba, McTavish with Minchikov in the 2-hole, and your number 1 star of the game being Mikhail Gramlin. Great work overall from the Ducks tonight. Those are your 3-ish stars of the game tonight. Now we got to flip it on over to the Columbus Blue Jackets side of things and think. We got a fun one. Todd made up this award. Randy made the graphic, and we put it all together. Who is tonight's Hoser Award that gets, the not-so-great poorest player on the ice? Well, we've come to that time of night here on the Anaheim Ducks Postgame Show on the HITI Network, where we pick the Hoser of the night. And this is, again, if you're new to the program, who played the worst on the ice tonight. And typically when the Ducks win, we give it to the other team. And tonight, we're going to give it to a very familiar face with the Anaheim Ducks family. Was a Duck for a couple of seasons now, wearing the Columbus Blue Jackets. And it's going to be number 21, Isaac Lundestrom. Lundestrom registered no points, no shots on goal tonight, and was only on the ice for 8 minutes and 51 seconds. Not the least amount of ice time tonight, but making one of his returns to Honda Center. He had some moments with the Ducks. He could have had a great future with the Ducks, but it just didn't pan out. And now with the Columbus Blue Jackets, tough night for Isaac Lundestrom, who registers no shots, no points, and under 9 minutes on the ice time tonight. Isaac Lundestrom, your hoser of the game. Looking now at the standings in the Pacific Division, the Ducks get to sleep tonight. First place in the Pacific Division with 44 points, 36 games on tap for the Ducks already this season. They are 21, 13, and 2. They have the most wins in the Pacific Division. The next best team is Edmonton and San Jose, who have 17 wins. So by the win column, the Ducks are a bare minimum 4 games better than anyone else in the Pacific Division. Vegas in second with 42 points. Edmonton coming up the rear in third with 40 points. The Kings in fourth with 39. San Jose in fifth with 37. And then those pesky Calgary Flames, who look like dog water early on in the season, they have come up and they have played absolutely well this season. 15, 17, and 4, much better than where they were with 34 points. And then Vancouver in seventh with 33 points. And how fast they fall, the Seattle Kraken, who were competing for first in the division, now in last with 32 points. In the Western Conference, the Ducks still competitive. Fourth in the Western Conference, behind Minnesota in third, Dallas in second, and Colorado in first. Colorado is absolutely a dynamo right now. 25-2-7. Definitely Stanley Cup competitors. We saw Dallas last night, even though the Ducks took one in their building. The Dallas Stars creamed us in our building. They're 24-7-5. And then the uptick, Minnesota Wild, 22-9-5. You know, getting Quinn Hughes kind of helps, am I right? They have 49 points and the Ducks have 44. So the Ducks, first in the Pacific Division, fourth in the Western Conference, and in the NHL, the Ducks are fifth. So they are still on a hot streak. The Ducks are still playing to their capabilities. They are above the curve right now in any and all shape and form. And I think this has been a really good season for the Anaheim Ducks, just on all phases of the game. Yes, we are still very early, 36 games into the season, where you're going to have the Ducks look really, really good and really, really bad. And throughout that East Coast road trip, you saw some of the bad coming through in the game against the Devils and the Islanders, and probably a game where you should have beat Columbus in their house and you walked away with only a point. So there are going to be times where that happens. But I think if the Ducks can level things out and not get into a tailspin where you lose 3, 4, 5, whatever games in a row, you will be able to level things out, control your tempo, and make those in-game adjustments or even day-to-day adjustments. And tonight, you know, having the back-to-back, and even though Dostal started both games, you have some massive opportunities coming up, even including the 4-day off period for the Christmas holiday. You got Monday at home against the Seattle Kraken, who have fallen off the page. That needs to be a must-win for Anaheim. And then coming out of Christmas, you have Saturday the 27th in LA against the Kings. You get a day off, and home against San Jose, who, just like the Ducks, have been way better than expectations so far to begin this year. And the Ducks and the Sharks, one meeting this year, and it was a shootout, 7-6, massive scoring affair up at S&P Center in San Jose. And then you end the calendar year, 2025, with the New Year's afternoon game against the Tampa Bay Lightning. So 4 massive games. And right now the Ducks clinging to 44 points. They need 6 points to get to that coveted 50 mark that I would love to see them get. I think wins against Seattle are completely capable. The San Jose game is very capable. So Tampa Bay and the Kings are the 2 games that I'm looking at saying, can the Ducks pull off 2 points? And maybe you go to overtime and get the pity points in both, and you do your justice and you get your 50 points. Thank you for that. That would be great. The Kings, 39 points, competitive. On the Eastern side, Tampa Bay, they're just as good as the Ducks, just 3 points less at 19, 13, and 3 with 41 points. So these teams, it is competitive. I don't care what it is. To me, looking at league standings from the top in Colorado with 57 to the bottom with Chicago with 32, and there's actually a 4-way tie with the Kraken, Jets, Predators, and Blackhawks with 32 points. To me, there has been incredible parity this year with the NHL. I think it's been a very even keel type of season. I don't know if that goes into just more competitive teams and they're scrappier, or maybe it's this Olympic break that's upon us in February and the schedules are condensed. You're not getting as much practice time and you're kind of seeing everybody at face value back to back, or these long road trips or homestands. Who the heck knows? But outside of Dallas and Colorado, who are above 50 points, there's only a 17-point separation between the third best team in the league in Minnesota and last place in 32 points. You mathematically do that out. That is an 8.5 game difference between the third best team in hockey and the last team in hockey. To me, that shows real parity in the NHL and just how good and how strong the NHL has become within divisional races and conference races. And you like to see that, and to see in that time span that the Ducks are on the upper echelon of the potential mediocre kind of 15th place to 20th place in the NHL. I'd love to see the Ducks above the curve, and they are playing really, really well this year. The one point I want to get to before we wrap things up on the Anaheim Ducks postgame show is the Beckett-Seneca situation. I think it was in the second period, if I'm not mistaken. Comment if I'm wrong. But Beckett-Seneca going in for a shot, getting tripped up, tangled up, and really having no room to go and just plowing into the Columbus netminder. I know he takes an interference penalty. What more did you want from Beckett-Seneca? This has nothing to do with age. It has nothing to do with skill set. It has nothing to do with being a rogue player or a dirty player. By the time he kind of gathers his bearings, after kind of being pushed and battling for the puck and a little bit of a stick chop and whatever you want to call it, you can't levitate. It's almost like the NFL and college football with the landing on the quarterback, or, targeting and leverage situation, or a sliding quarterback. Your body's kind of into it. And to say Beckett-Seneca had interfered with the goalie, that is an incredibly far stretch. I get it. The league is trying to protect goalies, and the eye test says there's a massive collision at the net. Without any context, if you just said something verbatim to somebody without seeing a replay, there was a collision one-on-one in the net, you're going to say, ooh, that's not pretty in the blue paint. But you have to take context into the situation. And for the officials to say interference, it brings me back to the game I was at with our good buddy Zach of Ducks Game Day Breakdown against the Florida Panthers early on in November, when Leo Carlsson got ejected from a game and a misconduct penalty for basically running into a Florida Panther player with the shoulder, no intent, trying to play the puck. I think nowadays the officiating is more for what's the proper terminology for this to get this right, because I want to execute this point to you guys really, really well. I don't care if it's hockey. I don't care if it's football. I don't care if it's basketball. I don't care if it's baseball or soccer, whatever sport you love. When you get a massive collision, optically, it's bad, right? I was watching the Miami-Texas A&M game this morning, and there was a massive collision late in the fourth quarter, and a guy goes down and he's out cold for a couple minutes and gets up. The slow-mo looks bad. The initial look looks bad, but it was a clean play. Helmet to the shoulder, like nothing was dirty about it, and there was no flag thrown. To me, the shock and awe value, I think, is what gets officials in trouble. And I'm not going to say, oh, the official needs to be fired, and I'm not going to go that direction, because luckily it didn't have an effect in this game. But there's got to be a little give in those situations. Bringing it back to hockey here. Where was Beckett-Seneca going to go? He had no opportunity to skate away or stop in his tracks or whatever. There was no way for him to do that, right? So if he's not able to do that, what are we talking about here, right? He can't levitate. He can't just disappear. What more could he have done? And I think Royally Quack says it well. There was no goalie interference. Good buddy Jesus says the same thing. Not much Seneca could have done. did try to go over the goalie. Like, yeah, he could try to, leap over him. It's just everything you can think of. There's going to be contact. Even if it was minimal contact, were they still going to call interference? Probably so. Calls favor the goalies. You're trying to protect them. Same thing with quarterbacks in the NFL. It's just one of those situations. I'm glad at the end of the day, it did not impact the game, right? And on that power, it's hard. And again, the rules are the rules. And perfect timing, as I'm thinking about Royally Quack says the same thing. The rule is if you're in the blue paint, it's on you. And if you're in white, you're all right. Exactly. So the rules are the rules in that case. So it's like you have to take the rules, combo with what you're seeing, the context of the situation. I get it. Officiating is not an easy gig, right? I would hate to be an official in any sport. You are criticized, minimized, everything under the sun. But the rule book says it very clearly. And I get it's the shock and awe factor in my mind. That's how I take it. When you see a goalie hit, it's almost like everything goes out of your mind. And it's like, there's a collision. We're calling a penalty. Or a collision happens and somebody goes fine. Radko Gudas does a hip check and someone goes flying under the boards. Oh, it's got to be illegal. And it's just that quick trigger mentality. So it's hard. It's tough. I get it. Luckily, thankfully, it was not a factor into this game overall. The Ducks were able to get a win, and we're not sitting here circling that one saying, this was the difference in the game, and this is why the Ducks lost. Thankfully, we don't need to have that conversation, and the Ducks get the 2 points. What I will say about that collision, Seneca did everything he could. I love the aggressiveness from him trying to go on a one-on-one and beat the goalie. I loved everything about it. Thankfully, both players, the goalie and Seneca, not hurt, no injuries. Everybody's okay. So to me, I'm okay with it. Just, I don't know what more Seneca could have done in that case, but I love the aggressiveness from the 19-year-old. He continues to play his butt off. And even on the nights when he does not get on the stat sheet with a goal or an assist, he finds a way, gets the job done. And I think this is where the Anaheim Ducks really, really are going to flourish moving forward. Yes, they haven't been to the postseason in a long time. And if they do get to the postseason this year, they're going to be kind of one of the teams, if they get paired against Colorado or Dallas or a team that's been to the playoffs even once or twice before, they might look like the team that is ill-prepared just because of lack of experience. Carlson has no playoff experience. Terry, Seneca, McTavish, all of these guys, you're going to have to lean on the veterans, the Kreiders, the Trubas, the Gudases, the Vetranos, Strome. You're going to rely on those older, savvy veterans, Killorn as well, to kind of guide this team in the right direction. And I think behind closed doors, our veterans are doing a very good job of spearheading this youth group and making them play so well. I really do love this combination of youngins and veterans for the Ducks. But on tonight's episode of the Ducks Postgame Show, it's a 4-3 win tonight. The Ducks get goals from Granlund, Trouba, McTavish, and Pavel Mintyukov. He gets the game winner. The horn goes off 4 times tonight. Ducks get a massive win tonight to bounce back after an 8-3 loss last night against the Dallas Stars, pick up 2 points and stay above the Las Vegas Golden Knights in the Pacific Division standings. We get to go to bed and wake up tomorrow, 4 days from Christmas, with the Ducks still in first place in the Pacific Division. Always love to see that, and this Ducks team is trending in the right direction. 3 stars or 4 stars of the game tonight. There was a tie for third. Trouba and McTavish both putting goals on the board. And then you had Pavel Mintyukov, the 2-star with the winner, and Mikhail Granlund, the number 1 star of the game, with a goal and an assist tonight. Great performance tonight. One little note that we'll get to at the very end right now. We didn't talk about them tonight, but the goalie, good bounce back performance. Not great, not bad. Good bounce back performance from Lukáš Dostál tonight. He only lasted 1 period last night against Dallas. He bounces back with 23 saves in 26 shots. He did what he had to do to keep the Ducks in this game and get a win. So thank you to Lukáš Dostál. We'll see if he starts on Monday against the Kraken or if it's Peter Mrazek night. My guess, I'll go with Dostál. You want to get that win against a team who's scuffling in last place in the division. Let's see if we can get dosed all hot going into those 4 days off before the Kings and kind of see where we're at that point going into next week with just 2 games next week. Monday the 22nd at home against the Kraken, and then after the 4 days off for Christmas, Saturday, this time next Saturday, 6 o'clock game at Staples Center against the LA Kings. But that'll do it tonight for the Anaheim Ducks post-game show with your host, Dominic of Catella Chronicles. Cheers to you guys for following along. Continue to like, comment, and subscribe. Come to the YouTube page, Instagram, X, however you follow us after every game. Todd and myself do everything we can to try to come on here after a game and break it down for you guys and celebrate in a Ducks win, or if we need to commiserate in a loss. You never know what can happen here on the show. But cheers to you guys. Hopefully you are beginning to celebrate the holiday season with family, friends, all the loved ones. I know we're 5 days away, almost 4 days away since it's almost midnight in about an hour and a half. But we wish you guys nothing but the best during this holiday season. Keep on coming back, like we mentioned. Like, comment, and subscribe to this post-game show, the one and only post-game show for your Anaheim Ducks. As many games as we possibly can get. We get to go to bed still first place in the division, 44 points, and hopefully with 4 games left before January 1st, the Ducks could get to that 50-point mark and make this guy look smart. I called it at the beginning of December. I said if the Ducks can get to 50 points before January 1, that would be a massive win at the end of the day. And with 6 points away and 8 points available with 4 games to go, you never know what can happen. The Ducks are looking good this year. Let's keep this thing rolling. Let's go Ducks. Ducks fly together. And as Royally Quack comments, Merry Christmas to you guys. Absolutely Merry Christmas to you and everybody following along. We'll see you on Monday. It'll probably be Todd because I'm going to be locked in. Well, maybe I might come out. I don't know. We'll see how Monday goes because I'm going to be locked into my San Francisco 49ers Monday Night Football. Yes, I'm a football fan as well. I love my Angels, love my Lakers, love my Ducks, and I love my 49ers. We got a massive Monday Night Football game against the Indianapolis Colts. So as I say, Ducks fly together, I get to say faithful to the Bay for my 49ers. So a little bit of both on Monday. We'll see if I pull the double duty. Either way, it'll be myself or Todd. We'll see you Monday. Ducks first Kraken. Ducks get the win tonight against the Blue Jackets by the final of 4-3. And again, first place in the Pacific Division. Once again, sleep well, guys. Wake up beautiful tomorrow. Be happy. Be healthy. Go Ducks. Ducks fly together. And we'll see you Monday after the game against the Seattle Kraken. Cheers, guys.